and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Box to Box with myself, your host, Marty, and Conrad from Black Cats TV. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please let us know in the comments if there are any questions you'd like us to ask any future guests. Please let us know what you thought of this episode. And please also check out all of AFTV's other content and the AFTV app while you are at it. So, the big one, Sunderland versus Arsenal, 5:30 on Saturday night, underneath the lights at a 49,000-seater stadium in the Stadium of Light. Home to Sunderland, the Black Cats. Sunderland having won 6 Division 1 titles in their history. They've had their ups and downs, but we are going to get straight into that. Welcome, Conrad. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Bit of a dream to be on AFTV. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, no, look, absolute pleasure, and thank you for coming on. And can't wait to hear all of your Sunderland-based knowledge, what you think of the game. We're going to go into your signings, everything about your team. So first and foremost, how are Sunderland doing, and how are you doing going into this fixture?
Yeah, well, we're doing better than I expected from May. Even when we just beat Sheffield United, I suddenly thought, I'll snap your hand off for 17th. But it appears to be going a lot better than that so far. And we've ridden had our detractors, shall we say, the ones who were like, well, you'll have less points than Southampton, you're going to be another derby. And then it was, oh, well, you only beat West Ham because they're easy. Oh, you only beat Brentford because they're easy. You've only got a point at Palace because they're easy. And it was just like, and now we've beaten Chelsea, and people are joking on Sky Sports, but talking about us as a title challenger. It's been an incredible few months, and I really hope it continues because, like you said before, ups and downs. We've had a lot of downs in the last 10 years, and finally enjoying some of our moments at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And the ups and downs, well documented on Netflix. I personally watched it myself and thought it was an absolutely captivating series. And obviously knowing Sunderland through my time watching football as a boy, and I found the journey fascinating. We're going to get into that in a bit. So let's talk about new signings. You've got one of our old boys in Granit Xhaka. What an absolute baller he is. I want to know your thoughts around Granit Xhaka, what he's done for your club so far, and what he's done as a signing.
Yeah, he's been an absolute revelation since we got him. We still don't quite believe that he actually plays in red and white for us.
He's always played in red and white.
Well, that's true. Yeah, red and black at Leverkusen, but yeah, red was always involved there. I don't know. It just when we first got linked with him, the general consensus from the Sunderland fans was, "Ha, good one, yeah, all right then," and like we'd move on to somebody else, and then it was like, no, apparently he only wants to join Sunderland, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. We're actually going to get, a world-class player, and he's come, and it really helped push us on to the next level of signings, the next level of playing, this mentality that he brings to the team and the whole squad.
Talk to me about that mentality quickly.
Yeah, like because we'd made him captain straight away. Dan Neil had done a great job and was just 200 appearances for Sunderland, boyhood Sunderland fan, and obviously found himself out of the team with the changes we've had to make. But Xhaka has come in and picked up that captain's armband, and he is every bit of a leader on and off the pitch. You see in every bit of content that the sort of the club are pushing out there, and it's just little things as well, just things of like when the handshakes are happening, instead of just running off and doing his welcome to the fans or whatever, he's just making sure that every player is a bit like he's on their game that day there. And when we went 1-0 down to Chelsea the other day, everyone shoulders could have dropped, heads could have dropped 4 minutes in, and he was already applauding them, going, no, that was a fantastic 4 minutes, we've had 2 shots already, we keep going, and 10 minutes later we were back in the game at 1-1. It's just levels, and it's levels we're not used to for the last 10 years. And it's just been, he's fantastic. I absolutely love him.
Do you know what? And there was nothing better than I saw than him leading the charge against Chelsea and you nicking the win there at Stamford Bridge. It was they went down your end and thought they had it all, and then you literally broke on them and stuck it to them. So fair play and well done. And Yeah, great. So, you guys made 14 signings this season.
Mhm.
Obviously, Xhaka being one of them. Let's talk a bit about your signings, the signings you've made in what positions, and where they fit into the team and how good they've been.
Yeah, so the three standout ones would be Xhaka's obviously one of those there, but his midfield partner in Noah Siddiqui, we like to joke, but he is a Kante regen. He is
Wow.
absolutely everywhere. Like, there's always a joke up at Sunderland where it was the earth is 70% water, but the other 30% is covered by Noah Siddiqui. He's just absolutely everywhere. Like he's
Sounds like
brilliant.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, it could be like that. I think he's a bit more box to box race. I think Noah's not quite as advanced that, but he's a little terrier. He's just
Wow.
always in on the challenge, winning the ball back, and just as defensive cover as the last man. He's been fantastic, and we're all sitting there going, enjoy him because he won't be here forever.
Yeah.
These levels above this, and the other one is our goalkeeper in Robin Roofs. We
Okay.
knew we needed an upgrade on our keeper, who's a great shot stopper in Anthony Patterson, but we always said command of his area and coming out for crosses was a sort of shaky area, shall we say.
Mm.
And Roofs has come in. He's only 22 years old. His second ever professional season as a goalkeeper,
Yep.
and he has just saved us countless points already. The big ones being Brentford at home saves a
Yep.
penalty, three world class saves, and we nick the game 2-1. Crystal Palace, he makes 8 saves, to keep it at 0-0. Several saves at Nottingham Forest as well. Then when we won that game at Man United, they could have been about 5-0 up after half an hour, and he managed to keep it down to two, pulling off some
Yep.
some incredible saves. And just the way he comes out calmly, just claims everything. He's so quick off his line. It was an upgrade you almost didn't think you needed until you
Really.
saw it, and it was, he's been in sensational. My personal favourite has been Nordi Mukiele, who we got from PSG, who'd been on loan
Okay.
at Leverkusen as well. He's another one of these mentality monsters, I'll say, like Xhaka, which is just you can see the experience that he brings with him and this different level of playing. And
Yeah.
he plays centre back slash right back, but I wouldn't be surprised if you spotted him on the left wing, having shots or doing 1-2s in the box and then still back defending at the same time. He's been an absolute revelation, and yeah, we didn't expect this caliber of player. Is honestly what I thought in May and June. Especially losing the
Yeah.
likes of Bellingham to
Yeah.
Dortmund, and
Big player.
and Watson, who scored the winning goal for us in the final to Brighton. And you could have easily gone, well, they're not going to replace him. They're not going to replace him, but they had a plan, and they've picked up some young, exciting talent. Which, if
Yeah.
the worst came to the worst and we got relegated, touch wood, doesn't happen. They still hold some value, and we've
Yeah.
also picked up some fantastic experience in the likes of Xhaka and Mukiele
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
Nalderete as well. But sadly, he'll miss the game on Saturday.
Cool. So let's talk about your classic sort of Premier League at the moment team layout and formation. Run me through your team, starting from your goalkeeper,
Mhm.
which obviously you've just mentioned, going through to your striker, the formation you play, and the sort of football that you play as well. In which
Yeah.
style?
Absolutely. So I think more against yourselves, we're going to play a back five, and
Yeah.
ideally, I don't want to call that like a low block. We're going to sit and hold on for a 0-0 and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's just how we manage the game. If any of the fans watching saw the semi-finals that we did last year against Coventry, we knew we weren't the best team
Yeah.
in there, but we had to make sure we were difficult to beat and compact to
Yeah.
play
Of course.
against. So we played a certain style. It
Yeah.
wasn't pretty, but we got the job done and we won the game, got to
Yeah.
the playoff final, and then went on to win that one. So I think you'll see us play a back five. We did a bit of an inverted midfielder against Everton the other night, which a lot of us
Okay.
didn't think worked. So you
Okay.
might see it as more of a traditional five with the likes of Hume from Northern Ireland, captain at right back, Mukiele that we've mentioned, Dan Ballard, formerly of Arsenal, who is an
Yes.
absolute monster in the air. He's
Yeah.
been fantastic. You'll probably see Getrada. I think we got him from, I want to say Ajax, but it was also I think Leipzig as well. He's
Yeah.
just come into the team because Alderete's been injured, but he's
Yeah.
very much a ball playing centre half as well and likes to step out. And
Yep.
on left wing back, you've got Reynildo, who we picked up for a free from Atletico Madrid. Another
Yes.
experienced head and
Good
very
player.
good Simeone game manager, shall we say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The interesting thing about the back five is it is a five. I'm not going to lie and say it isn't. But when we have the ball on the left side, shall we say, it's a four with the right wing back really high up, giving us another option. And then when it's the other side, it's Reynildo. So it does change a bit when in possession. And
Yep.
I think we like to try and press wingers quite quickly. But Saka is a completely different animal when it comes to that sort of thing. So it'll be an interesting one there as well. And I'm not sure yet if it'll be Martinelli or Trossard on the other side.
Trossard.
Trossard likely. So it'll be a very tough game. In the middle, Granit Xhaka, captain leader, has to be there as
Granite.
well.
Granite by
Yeah.
name, granite by nature.
Exactly. Next to him will be, as we mentioned, Siddiqui, the Kante
Yep.
regen that I might be getting a bit carried away with. But
No,
as
listen. You guys are doing a business. It's first v fourth.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. Well, a famous Sunderland fan at the moment who went on Talk Sport this year when we beat West Ham and said, "Let's get carried away, man." And sadly, he passed away a few weeks later. So it's become a
Oh,
bit of like a we've all adopted that saying when we're talking about Sunderland of let's just get carried away. Why not? We don't live forever, so let's just get carried away with how we're doing. So you'll see them two in the midfield. I imagine because we're not going to play Hume in there, you would likely see someone like Enzo Lefebvre, who we got from
yep,
Roma, but we actually had him last year. Um, Potentially in the middle or as a left winger, he will be there in some sort of capacity, whether it be central or left sided. Bertrand Traore out on the right hand side, he seems to be holding down a place. He's the one that a few fans are a bit divided on at the moment. He's doing
yep.
well defensively, going forward. He does fall over a lot, and we're a bit like just tidy it up a little bit. And up top, Wilson Isidore for us, whose idol he always talks about was Thierry Henry. So when
Yep.
he does his celebrations, he likes to do the corner flag Henry celebration,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
4 goals already this season, which. Again, some of us thought he might struggle to make the step up, but he hasn't. He's been absolutely fantastic, especially on the transitions and very quick shots. Isidore's been phenomenal for us up top.
Wow, well, rest in peace to that Sunderland fan. My condolences go out to his family, and I'm sure you guys are all supporting him in a big way. So, or supporting his family in a big way. So, your run of form, obviously, we go back 5 games. You beat Nottingham Forest 1-0. Manchester United at Old Trafford beat you 2-0. Then you managed to beat Wolves, but everyone's beating Wolves 2-0. Good result. And then you went to Stamford Bridge, done the business as we've already spoken about, 2-1. And then on Monday night, you had a 1-1 draw with Everton. And yeah, our old boy Granit Xhaka popped up with a shot, deflected back of the net. So, that run of form, like you said, you'd probably bite your hand off for it. What's your thoughts and feelings around it?
It's crazy to think we've picked up as many points as we have so far. I think it's 18 so far, and like you say, the Man United game is the one that stands out for me. We all got a little bit overconfident, shall I say, because at that
Yep,
point it was Amarim's going to go, he's going to go, we're going to be the final nail in his coffin. And we turned up and played a back four in a very open system, thinking we'd get at Man United, and that just didn't
yep,
happen. And they had our
yep,
lives for half an hour, scored 2. We then switched to the back 5, which I believe will play against yourselves. And it was a very even game after that. I think we had couple more shots, but they didn't have any. So we were a bit like this worked better. Like, and he clearly, the manager learned from that one, which we're happy. We know we're going to lose games. We're not daft, of course. But it was a little bit like let's calm down a bit. We all got a bit overconfident, thinking we were going to win that one. But it's been great to see that level of expectation, if you will, hasn't dropped off against your Wolves at home, where you
yeah, yeah,
think,
of
they're
course.
bottom, they've got no points, or 2 points. We should win this. We still have to make sure that we do go out and win it, and then that same mentality can carry us through difficult games like Chelsea, where especially when you go 1-0 down after 4 minutes, and you're thinking, here we go. Long afternoon incoming,
Yeah,
can we just get to half time at 1 and, actually find that we're the better team? Without the ball. That seems to be the thing at the moment against the bigger sides. It'll be, I think they said on Sky on Match of the other day, we're dominating games without the ball. but it's all
No.
in our aerial duels, the transitions, the sort of the 50-50s. That's where we're winning games. We don't win the game by holding on to possession and passing it around back and forth, back and forth.
Yep.
So it's a strange one, but that's what you'll see, I think.
Fantastic. So Arsenal, 7 clean sheets in the Premier League, 8 in a row. Recently, we haven't conceded a goal since September, and we have 13 clean sheets in all competitions. What do you think of Arsenal?
I do like Arsenal. I have a very good friend of mine who go and watch Arsenal with at the pub
Who's
a lot.
that?
Yeah, he's a friend. Matty, he's called
Shouting
Matty.
now.
Yeah,
Matty.
hi, Matty. Yeah, we've gone and watched several games. I think we went to the pub together when Sunderland and Arsenal last played, when you won 5-1 in the Carabao Cup when we
Yep.
were a League One side. And I remember coming out the pub afterwards, and he was a bit like, "You played really well. Like, I
Yep.
couldn't believe how well you passed the ball." And I think our goal in that game was actually like 10, 11 passes without you touching the ball from the
Wow.
keeper, and it was a bit like, wow, we're okay. And I've been on that sort of journey of watching you get closer and closer every time,
Wow.
and sort of kind of wishing it would happen for years. And obviously now that we're in the Premier League, I can't say that, but because we're in with a chance as well, if it's to be
Yeah.
believed. But no, yeah, I really like Arsenal. I really like everything about. I don't get this narrative of you're boring or anything that seems to be going around. I enjoy watching it because football's a game to win, and you win any way that matters. It doesn't matter how you win, as long as you've got
Yeah.
3 points at the end of the day. And I don't know if that's a bit Simeone of me to sort of go, a win's a win, I'll take anything. But I think to get your hands on that Premier League trophy after, what was it, 21, twenty
Yeah.
two years would be an absolute phenomenal thing. And I
You're
think it's
telling
there for
me.
you. It's there for you this season. If you carry on, I do think it's there.
Fantastic. So, what do you think of the job that Mikel Arteta has done over the last 6 years?
I think it's been good. I think he's probably been dealt a harsh sort of criticism
Yeah.
sometimes of, oh well, he's not got the job done. It's like, it wasn't ever a case of you walk into
Yes.
Arsenal and instantly title challengers. That was never
Process.
going to be the case. So another friend of mine from uni, he's called Poos, is a very good Facebook warrior, shall we say, of trust the process and King Edu at the time and all of this. So I've
Okay.
enjoyed seeing
Okay.
all that coming on.
We had a King
um
Arteta actually
yeah,
around in
yeah,
AFTV,
he's
and he's
he's
actually changed to Arteta out. Funnily enough, so
oh,
it was
right.
the biggest heel turn in AFTV history. It was almost like John Cena in WWE,
Yeah,
but
I can
that's another
imagine.
story anyway.
A hug and pull in the face behind his back. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine it. Yeah, yeah. I've been impressed with the job he's done. Like I said, it was never going to be you walk in and you're instantly back in a title picture. He's had to do, subtle changes here and there as they get gradually bigger and bigger and bigger, as you've seen with the signings of Rice, Zubamendi, Gyökeres. Having Saliba. I think you had him before you had him, if
Yeah,
that makes sense, and
yes, we
having
did. He
him
went
just
out on
come in and
loan.
be,
Yeah,
as good as he is. And then other astute signs like Timber, who missed an entire season, but yet is arguably one of the best right backs in the world at the
yep,
moment. And then Calafiore is just keeping Lewis Skelly out of the team.
mate,
It's
monsters.
it's
The
crazy. It
wall.
really is.
Our
And
defense is the wall.
yeah, pretty much. And that's why I'm really looking forward to this game in particular, because we like to sit and soak up pressure and
Yeah,
counter, but
yeah,
I'm really interested to actually see your like defense live and what we
yeah,
can
yeah,
try and
yeah.
do and give it a go. It's so for me, it's like a really exciting game to watch. But if it's 1-0 Arsenal or 0-0, people are like, oh, dull game, and I'm like, no, it's two teams that are like got their set ways of playing, and that's sometimes more exciting to watch. Just these two might be a stalemate, but or like a bit of a war of attrition, shall we say? But it's sort of, it's cool to watch.
Yeah. So, what's been your toughest game of the season so far?
Ooh, I would probably say, well, Everton last night was probably not last night, on Monday was probably the one,
Yep,
just because of how poor we were.
yep,
Xhaka came after the game and said we'd been training poor all week, and sort of tried to address it before the game, but it limped over into the first half an hour where if you saw it, we were terrible. It could have been about 4 or 5 nil down if
yep,
if we're being nice. And but when they woke up and they finally started playing, there only looked to be one winner, if you ask me, which was us. I don't remember them having a shot in the second half, probably because Barry and Beto aren't fantastic, but Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Dye
Yeah.
are absolute threats for them as well. Thankfully, and Dye for us went off injured, so we had one less player to deal with. But it was more of a frustrating game, and then we had our first run in with VAR against us, shall we say, when where
Welcome
Michael
to the
Keane,
Premier League.
yeah, exactly, where Michael Keane had his
PPMOL.
arm
Oh,
out here, and that's a natural position to stop a cross going in, apparently. And that was our first proper run in with it. But it's been our friend so far, so I won't dig it out too much yet. But it's that was a really frustrating day where I think we just know that we're better now. We've seen 9 games of this, and we know we're better than this. So it was a difficult watch, but you'd still take a point in our position. 10 games into a return to the Premier League, you take a point at home against Everton, and you move on.
who's your top goal scorer?
Isidore with 4. He's got 4 this season, and then after that, I think it's shared between everyone on 1.
Okay. So tell us briefly, like we spoke about the Netflix thing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us briefly about that, because obviously you went down, and I love this story. You were in the Premier League. You had some change of ownerships, and then you went down into League One. You were struggling around there, and then obviously promotions got yourself through back into the Premier. Briefly, just quickly let the viewers know about that story. Those that don't know.
Yeah, it was a plan of one of our former owners, Ellis Short, to sort of try and bring more foreign eyes to watching Sunderland,
Yeah.
and I don't think they ever thought when they signed up to do it that the season beforehand we'd have been relegated in a Championship team by the time it
Yeah.
came round, and then they were like, well, this is a great story of a team getting back to the Premier League. It's going to be fantastic. Little did we know that we absolutely, did something in the bed, shall we say, and went down even further and in
Wow.
probably the worst position we've ever been in our history, or at least joined. And then they went, right, well, at least that'll be a promotion, And then
Yeah.
we got to the playoff final and lost to Charlton again. We had
Wow.
1998. We lost to Charlton 4-4 in the most famous playoff final there is. And then 2018, they did us again. And it was just. Then they
Horrendous.
stopped. Thankfully, they stopped filming it because it was just 3 more seasons of we never got promoted, and
Hmm.
then they did turn back up for the year that we did.
Wow.
Thankfully, so yeah, but there was some strange decisions throughout that time, and I like the documentary because it felt different. I've seen was it All or Nothing on
Yes.
Amazon that you had? I was a big fan of that one,
Brilliant.
but it felt very like this is the team, this is this, whereas the Sunderland one felt like these are the people of Sunderland. It was all
Yeah. I
about
get that.
the sort
It
of
was
fans
raw.
and the
It was
people.
raw, and
Yeah,
you could see the love that Sunderland fans have for
absolutely.
Sunderland. I don't think All or Nothing encapsulated that about Arsenal fans
No,
that well, if I'm honest with you.
yeah,
But
I've watched. They did Spurs, they did City. I think they did Leeds, and you're
yeah,
right. It's great to watch, and it's a great insight on the inside of football. But
yeah.
it just never looked at the people or the fans
Mhm.
that it affected. Where I think that's where ours differed. But of course, now everyone has the chant of "We've seen you cry on Netflix."
Yeah. So when did you start supporting Sunderland, Conrad?
So it was about 97, 98 for myself.
Yeah.
I'm younger than I look, shall I say. But it was a weird one. So normally you're born into it, your family support it or not. So my family are from the south, but I'm the first northerner. And
Okay.
at our school at the time, they used to do a scheme where it was, hey, if you buy an adult's ticket or you buy a kid's ticket, you can get a free one at for your parents to go with you. So
Wow.
we just started going to the Sunderland games and then never looked back really. And it was always in the ascendancy and the glory days of Peter Reid, Niall
Yes.
Quinn, Kevin
Niall Quinn,
Phillips.
one of our
Yeah,
old boys.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, exactly. And everyone remembers Quinn and Phillips and Sunderland sort of taking
Yeah.
over the Premier League for 2 or 3 seasons, and that's sort of that's the duo, that's the big and the small duo
Yeah.
that everyone remembers. And then after that, for me, you're talking your Darren Bent, your Asamoah Gyan,
Yeah.
players like that, some really good players, some streets won't forget players, shall we say, like Steve
Phillips.
Malbronk. I
Yeah.
know he's a former Spurs player, but
Yeah.
he was a good
We won't
player
talk
for us.
about them. We don't
Yeah.
talk about them on here.
Yeah, a former Fulham player I'll go with then. A former
Yeah, that's
Fulham
it.
player.
That's it. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Well, we root. So, what's the Stadium of Light like? Let's tell everyone. I want to know about the atmosphere as a footballing arena.
Mm.
49,000 raucous Sunderland fans going at it. Trying to boss the away team that are coming here, and obviously the away fans. What's it like?
It's been really good this season. There was a lot of talk last season that the atmosphere was always a bit flat. It was a bit this, it was a bit that. But this season, it's been nothing short of fantastic.
Mm.
We've had you've probably seen all the banners and the tifos that we're actually doing at the moment. Most recently, the
Yeah,
Bradley Lowry one for the
yeah,
Everton game as well, for the Cancer Has No Colours and the Bradley Lowry Foundation, which was phenomenal. We've just tried to make it as best atmosphere for the players. We're trying to help them as well. We know they're in for a tough fight this season, and
yeah,
we're just like, we're behind you. We believe in you, and we're just going with that. And you're right. We're probably trying to be a bit more, not hostile to the
yeah.
away fans as well, but we're just trying to be a bit more on top of the away team. Of like, it's not just the team of players you've got to contend with. It's us.
Well, speaking of the away team being on top of, you put the away fans right up high in the
Yeah,
clouds. Is this a new thing, or
it's
how have you got away with it? Two, is it a
yeah,
new thing? And listen, I understand it adds to the atmosphere. Very similar thing Newcastle do. They stick you up in the gods,
yeah.
and it is a few other grounds as well, and especially around Europe and what have you.
Yeah, it wasn't always that way. You used to be down in the south stand, and I actually preferred it when you were down there because
Yeah,
we had our crazy corner up against the sort
yeah,
of away ends, and I don't know, I just like the away fans by pitch. I always like watching football on the telly where you can see the away fans going mental, like in a
yes,
section. It just looks cool.
yes.
But you're up in the top now. It's not as high as Newcastle, I will say. Newcastle's like watching an iPad from the top of your stairs. Like it's ridiculous. But our one, it's a good view. I used to sit in the Premier Concourse a bit further round, and it's a good
Okay.
view of the game from up there. You'll see all the movements of the teams and the players quite well from that one. I've been in the third tier of Wembley watching England and thought, God, this is ridiculous. But you see the game a lot better actually as a
Yeah.
whole sort of squad movement. So it's all right there. I don't know why we're allowed to do it. I don't know why Newcastle is still allowed to do it, but I think it's one of those. If we're not asked, we're just going to carry on.
Yep. Well, look, really looking forward to coming up there, nicking 3 points off of you and letting you know what football's all
Yeah.
about. Just a quick opportunity for you to plug your channel. Please, guys, go and follow Conrad on your channel.
Yeah, at Black Cats TV, we only started, me and my other co-host Mike, last year, and we've got just shy of 3,000 subscribers. So we're a minnow in comparison to AFTV. But yeah, if anyone could show us some love and subscribe, even just to have a laugh at us when my co-host thinks we're going to win 4-2, by the way, on Saturday.
What?
And yeah, I know you've not conceded a goal in 8, and he's
He's
like, yeah, we're going
conceded
to
three
score
all
4.
season.
Yeah, exactly. I told him this. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
Well, it could happen.
it
Listen,
could.
you never
In
know. You never
fairness,
know.
before the Chelsea game, he said we're getting 7 points from Chelsea, Everton, and Arsenal, and we're on for it. That's the worst
Well,
thing
fair
about it.
play.
So, and I went for a more conservative 1-1. I never back Sunderland to lose, no matter what position they're in. But
Fair
it's
play.
it's it's a hopeful one. But yeah, if anyone could go and help us out, like I say, just shy of 3,000 in less than a year, and we're doing pretty well. We'll get to work with the club a few times as well already, so it's going well. So thank you all if you do go and look.
And also, Conrad will be, I'm sure, on AFTV doing a fan cam with Robbie after we've beaten you guys 2-0 in your own backyard.
Yeah.
So please also check him out and please show his channel some love. You know what it's all about. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Box to Box. Conrad, you've been an absolute superstar, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing some really insightful experiences and your knowledge around Sunderland Football Club. Please check out all of AFTV's content. Please, we've got a watch along 5:30 live in the studio with myself, Christian, Ella and Laurie. We've also got a starting 11 show. We've got the Invincibles, the AFTV app. Check that out. That's got a team selector on there. You can catch all your favourite podcasts on that. It's absolutely awesome. Guys, stay safe. Look after yourself. I've been Marty. This has been Conrad. We've been on AFTV, Box to Box, back again. Catch me on the next episode, which is going to be Tottenham. Take care. Stay safe. Over and out.